Hello everyone, in this tutorial we will start shooting enemies, and before we start with this video I would like to say that I've updated my Unity to 2018.1, so there are a few changes which I will quickly go through. Firstly, there is an extra transform tool, and if you click on it you will see it's an all-in-one transform tool. That it has the move function, it also has the rotate and the scale function. So pretty much you can do everything with this. So this is the new addition, and as we go through a tutorial you will see yourself that there are few more things which are not that significant but just worth noting. So firstly, to start shooting enemies we will first create an empty game object, and it will be the child of the player game object. We will name it as shoot start point. It just means that it is the starting position from where the bullet will go ahead. So we will place it right in front of the player. So the bullet would be in front of the player. Then we will create another game object called bullet, and for that I will create a cube and I will name it as bullet, and I will just place it, let it be over there. Its scale would be 0.2 on all the axes. So the bullet will be a little small. Then in the materials folder we will create a new material and I will name it as bullet, and when I click on albedo you will see that it has changed a little. The color window has changed, but it's not really that different except for the circle, and that square which we used to had has become a little smaller. Other than that I don't see much difference. So in the red I would write as 106, the green value would be 6, and that's it. And this is for other types of values, like we are using 0 to 255. There are other types as well, but I would like to go with this. And when you close it, just add this material to the bullet. So you have created the bullet. Now what we'll do is we'll create a folder. So go into the assets folder and create a folder, and I will name it as prefabs. Now take this bullet and drag it into this folder. Now a prefab is something more of like a common holder for all the types of game object. So I'll just continuously create, and you'd see that everything is just the same. All the properties are same, the material, everything is same. So that is the only thing about prefabs. But for now we need just one bullet in our scene, so I will delete the others. Now we'll use this prefab when we write our script. So if you go to the scripts folder, and the thing you will notice is that the C# logo has changed a bit, but we will go into the player script, and over there firstly I would zoom in. So in this, first I would write public transform bullet start pause. So the transform which we had created as a child of the player, that would be the value for this transform variable. So I will just put it as bullet start position. So just for meaning for what this variable is. And the other game object is the bullet, because we will be creating bullets or instantiating bullets. So we will be creating another game object, and the variable name would be bullet. Now in the update function, I would write if input dot get key down, and in the parentheses key code dot space. Now what this means, we'll be using the same input class, and in that there's a function called get key down. So what it means is that all the keys on the keyboard, so whenever you hit that key on the keyboard, that it will just check whether it's true or not. If it is true, then we'll do something over here, and it will take a parameter. A parameter is like a value which is required for a function to perform a certain task, and yeah, it will return a boolean, yes. So it would either give a true or false. So when you hit the spacebar, this condition is checked and it becomes true. So we'll do something over here. So keycode dot space means when you hit the spacebar. In that, I would just write one line, not here. Instantiate. Now it will ask for some parameters over here as well. There are 10 ways in which you can do. You can see over here 6 of 10, but the one which we'll be using is this, the fifth one, object original. So the object which we'll be creating, instantiate, is a function which is used to create game objects at the time of play. So the object which we want to create when we hit the spacebar is bullet, the one which we created in as a variable. Then it is asking for a vector 3 position, and that is this one, bullet start pause. So bullet start pause dot position, so that would give a vector 3 position of this transform component. And the last thing which it needs is Quaternion. So we had used Quaternion in the previous video, so it was over here, where I think the player, yes, somewhere around, yeah, this one, the transform.rotation.rod. So over here, the Quaternion one, so it is for rotation. So for that value, we'll put Quaternion dot identity, means the bullet would stay in the same rotation. It will not change in the rotation with some other rotation. So it will just stay at 0, 0, 0. So that is what identity means. Close the parentheses and put a semicolon. But we are not done yet. There's one more script we'll create. And before I go ahead with that, I will click on player and I will put the values for these empty ones. So the bullet, I won't put this one now, because if I make a change in the prefab, the one thing which I forgot to tell, that if I change some property in the prefab, and when I create it, there would be a difference in the newly created game object. And also when you create a prefab, this 3 buttons will be active, and that is apply, revert and select. So when you make a change in this, so if I put it as 0.8, so the collider size would be changed. When I click on enter, it changes over here as well, the bullet game object. So that is the use of prefabs, but we don't want it to be like this. And the way we use apply is, if you click on 1 and if you click on enter, it becomes bold, which tells that there is a change and it is not equal to the prefab. So to remove this bold, just click on apply and it will be gone, and here also the change would be reflected. So we can easily delete this bullet, and whenever we want we can create this game object. That's the use of the prefab. So I will drag this game object over here. The bullet start pause would be this. So that's it. And when you click on play, when you hit space, see a bullet is created. So when you click, it's being hidden by the player, but the bullet doesn't stay stationary like that. It will move forward and just one line would be required for it. So in the scripts folder, create a C# script and call it bullet. And in the prefabs, what I would do is, I would use something called this lock over here, this tiny little lock. So what this helps us is it will keep this inspector, whatever component or whatever the game object it is related to, it will keep it as it is. So if I click on some other game object over here, it will not be shown over here. So that's the use of the lock. So if I go to scripts folder, I can now easily drag this bullet script onto it. And then after you're done, you can again click on this lock and it will become normal. So click on this bullet script and it will be opened. And the first thing which I'll do is I'll remove everything. And what I will write over here is, firstly I will create a variable, and that is the speed of the bullet. So public int speed, and here it would be transform. Oh, it's not working. Okay, it's fine. Transform dot translate. It is similar to add force, rigid body dot add force, but this is a different one. I'll explain. So vector3 dot back multiplied by minus speed, and put a semicolon. And when you, what this translate is, this translate function is used to move game objects according to this transform component. So it will change the position, and there is no force. Over here we were applying force. We were not using transform.translate because I wanted to use it according to the rigid body. But in here, I want to just use the move, because if I use rigid body without gravity, it won't make much sense to me. Yes, there would be physics collisions, but I don't think I would require those physics simulations and all. So it's a simple translate, and translate is just for moving. And vector3 dot back, now again we will use it. So if you double click on it and control apostrophe, we will go to the documentation for back. So back is something like -100, I guess. No, 00 -1. So it's searching for script reference. So you can check the version, because sometimes it could be different. Like in Unity 4 and Unity 5, there was a bit of difference on how rigid body was used. So it's a shorthand for writing vector300 -1. So if you click on it, it will show you. So transform.position plus is equal to vector3 dot back multiplied by time dot delta time. So it is again used for changing the position. But here I just want to translate it. So we could have used this one, but I just wanted to introduce this new function as well. So vector3 dot back is 0, 0, -1. And if I put a positive value for speed, okay, so I'm multiplying it by minus some value for speed, so that is 1 over here. Now if I remove this brackets and if I multiply it this way, you would get the answer 0, 0, 1. So it's just for negative multiplication I'm doing. I think there's a different function for this as well. So if I click on vector3, So we can search for it. That is forward. So I could have directly used this one as well. So I'll just copy this. And here I would remove the minus sign and I would write forward. Just a simple thing, because here it's just 0, 0, 1. In the back it's minus 1 in the z axis. So if you multiply it, so it would be this way. So it would return the same answer. I couldn't recall this forward, so that's why I wrote back. But you can use either of them. But for simplicity, I would use this translate one. This forward vector 3 dot forward multiplied by speed. That would be easier. So every time in the update function, the position of the bullet would be changed on the z axis. So it would move this way. So that's what translate will do. So if I save it and go back to Unity, and yeah, I would remove this is equal to 1 because we don't require it. We will assign it here as well. So when you scroll down through the inspector, we will write the speed as 1. Control S. So we will save scenes and save project. When you click on play, you can see the bullet will now move forward. If it seems a bit slow, it is fine. I think the enemy is a bit too fast. So you can just spawn multiple bullets. We can do many things with this shooting. That's why I didn't want to extend this video longer. And last thing which I want to tell you is, we used get key down over here, but there is another thing called if input dot get button down, and the difference is it will ask for a string button name. So you will get this button name if you go to edit, project settings, input. We had used this horizontal and vertical for player movement. You can use this fire one, or there's one more, I think jump. Yeah, so it will use space. So the way you write it, instead of this, you can write in double quotes jump, and you will close the parentheses, and it would be the same thing. So you will put instantiate over here. So that's the only thing. And this is the multi-line comment which you can use to comment multiple lines, / asterisk and another asterisk and / to end the comment. So there are quite a lot of things. But I would like to say one thing about this instantiate is, creating game objects this way is not an ideal way. There is a thing called object pooling, where you store multiple game objects in an array or a list. Array is like a group of objects of the same type. So if you just put it in that way, it would I think it would increase the performance of your game, so it would not lag much. It won't contribute to lagging of the game. So that's why instantiating, and even in my previous tutorials I told destroy is also not ideal. So instantiate is the opposite of destroy. But I will introduce you to object pooling in the future tutorial. So I think that's it for this tutorial. So please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Until then, bye.